I can't hear you.
Just one.
Yeah.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Hey, for those of you online, we'll be starting at 1:05, so we'll be starting in 3 minutes just to allow everyone to get on. I guess their name, address. And if you want to do that too, like, because you know, Joel's gone on Thursday, but we could still meet and go through that listing agreement if you want, or listing packet. Oh, nice. Okay. Joel's won't be here, but. Oh, wait. I have it set up. Yeah, so we can go over anything you need for the listing then too. But yeah, if you send us anything before, we can have it prepped for that meeting. Right. Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, thanks for coming, Jules. All right, we'll do. Thanks. All right, everyone. Can you confirm you can hear me online?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So in today's class, hi, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Really? And now you're back? Oh, where were you? Wow, what a trip. Was it great? How long were you there? 2 weeks. Wow, that's awesome. Can't wait to hear about it more. All right, guys. So today's class, we will be talking about your opportunity pipeline. And the goal of today's class is to be more of a workshop style. So, you know, these Tech Tuesday time slots are from 1 to 3 on Tuesdays. So our goal moving forward is to set up this as a time block to further optimize your command account. So a lot of agents, as you probably know, will just put in the contact to create the opportunity to get paid, right? Because you do have to create an opportunity to get paid. However, there's a lot of power that goes into your opportunity pipeline that you could be really using to grow your business. So let's first take a look at our opportunity pipeline. I am in agent.kw.com. So I'm logged into command. You can go ahead and log in. Here, just agent.kw.com. So we're logged into command and we're clicking on the opportunities tab on the left-hand side. So that opportunities tab, it looks like a handshake icon that'll take you over to your opportunity pipeline. where you'll see three main pipelines. So you have a separate pipeline for your listings, buyers, and leases. All right, and a lot of pipelines will typically, like a lot of software programs, are generally contract to close, right? So with the command pipelines, you get a whole lot more analytics and checklists to keep you on track throughout your transaction. So you'll notice, right, that we have the cultivate phase, appointment, active, under contract, and close. What I'm going to show you in today's class, we're going to add custom checklists to these items, to each one of these phases, so you can get an idea of, okay, right, I have, let's say, 5 people in this cultivate stage. What do I need to do? What are some action items I need to do to move them down the pipeline, to get them into an appointment? And I actually have checklists that I'm going to share with you guys that we can copy and paste in, right? Because we're going to work on actually building those checklists today to make this work for your business, right? So some other reason that this pipeline is really powerful is it gives you an idea of how long it takes for your transactions on average to close. So, right, that's something that's very important for you to plan your financials, to know, okay, how long are my transactions taking between the cultivate and appointment phase, between the beginning all the way to the close phase. So you'll see an average amount of times, okay, right here, of how long it's taking that stage to get. I don't use my pipeline for that, so that's why mine's so long. But that gives you a good idea, okay, if I need to pay my bills in 3 months, how many transactions do I need to have going to make sure I hit that, right? To make sure that's getting through my pipeline, it's important to know how long it's taking you to close your deals. Okay, so there's some analytics that'll show you that as well. And if we scroll down, and on the right-hand side, you'll see your potential income and probable income here. Okay, your potential income is just if everything on the pipeline closes, versus your probable income will increase the further down the pipeline your transaction gets. Okay, so that's the difference between the two, and you'll see a little note here. So if you don't remember what I said, it's there. All right, and you can scroll down. I just want to show you guys these quick graphs down here as well, so you can see your ratio of listings to buyers, especially if you want to focus on listings in Q4 or Q1 of next year. They take less time, right? You can see how you're doing in that. In this graph here on the right-hand side, you can see all opportunities, listings, buyers, so forth. So you can analyze, okay, my highest listings were in July. What did I do about 2 to 3 months before then that got me those listings? Okay, so just some graphs that you guys can take a look at in closings this month. But where I want to start is on your pipeline. I want to go through and actually start customizing these for your business. So if you could join me, let's go ahead and click on the cultivate phase. So on the first part of your pipeline, and just a heads up, if you are on a team, right, you may have a separate team profile and personal profile. Okay. Typically the team pipeline, those checklists are controlled by the Rainmaker. But if you do, let's go ahead and click on cultivate for your pipeline to go ahead and access that. And we're going to start editing this. And I'm going to give you a resource to edit this in just 1 second. But again, just simply click on your pipeline and it'll take you in, and you'll see those opportunity phases at the top. So the cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. Those are not changeable. However, the pipeline stages, which is right under it, these are editable. So these are probably slightly different than what you have in there. And I'm going to show you how you can edit this and also add in checklists. So you'll see on here on my opportunities as an example, right? I have checklists here. So I can click on it and know, okay, what action items do I need to complete to work on getting this opportunity to that next stage of our pipeline? We can even set to due dates so that these reminders will show up on our phone. The first notification you get every day are task reminders from Command. So you can set a due date to make those pull up, and we'll be doing all of this together. All right, but I just want to show you what it does, and then we'll be setting it up. The other cool thing that we'll be looking at today, you can also send client update emails through this. So in general, these to-do list items are for you to keep you on track. However, if you want your client to receive client update emails of what you're doing, you can also send them a client update. So what would happen, and again, I'll show you how to do this, but when this is checked, so once I check this off, so the client update is checked. So once I check this off, let's say I check off like 3 items that I did the day before. That client will get an email the next morning of all the tasks I completed for them of the past 24 hours, which is really cool for a couple reasons. One, it keeps them updated with what's going on without you having to send a physical email to them. 2, I also find that the average person doesn't know how much a real estate agent does for them. So this is a great way to kind of passive aggressively tell them all the wonderful things that you're doing, but 2 important things like when the lockbox goes out or the sign, right? Those are important things for them to be notified of. I know like when I was getting my mortgage approved, the lender had something similar to this, and I would get notified, the 3 things they did, and it felt like, okay, great. I know they're working on it. They're still on top of things, even though they're not calling me. I don't want them to call me, right? So it's a great way to stay in touch with your clients and make them feel like you're doing something for their transaction daily without actually having to reach out to them. All right, so let's now take a look at how to set that up now that you know that is a possibility. So let's come up here to edit stages. And if I lost anyone, where I am, just a heads up, from the opportunities tab of command on the left-hand side, that handshake icon, you can click on any stage of your opportunity pipeline. I'm going to do cultivate on the listing pipeline. And then we'll click on edit stages on the very top right. Edit stages. All right, so I am going to now share a resource with you guys to be able, like I have checklist templates for you guys if you'd like to use. If you could, on your computer, pull up a new tab and go to JuLeahDesigns.com. I'm going to share with you that resource. And I'll send this out in the Zoom chat as well, but for you two, to make your life easier, if you can go to JuLeahDesigns.com. Can you spell that? I can. And then you'll want to go to Tech Corner, hover over Tech Corner, and then Tech Class Schedule. I just house the notes on here, the resources as well. And it's a little funky on your phone, so if you can do this on your computer, it's better. The Google Doc. So this right here, so again, in case I lost anyone, JuLeahDesigns.com, Tech Corner, Tech Class Schedule, and I'll send this out in the Zoom chat, but scroll down, and this is what I wanted to share with you guys. So particularly, we're going to start with the seller opportunity checklist template. Okay. If you can click on that, it will like show a preview of it. And you can just simply click on the name again to open that up. And it's going to be an Excel spreadsheet that we can copy and paste these tasks from to our new checklist. Okay. So that's what we're doing. And let me share this out in the notes or in the Zoom as well. 1 second here. Hey, Gerard. How you doing? No worries. Yeah, let's do seller because we're starting on that pipeline, but really either one or both you'll need. Or here, the people on Zoom, let me send this out too. Tell me about it. So yeah, you don't have to use all of it. Before you like spiral and think, wow, this is the craziest thing I've ever looked at. You don't have to use any of this, but good, great. But now you're like, I'm really overwhelmed. I'm not doing any of this. So what we want to do to start with, okay, so this is a checklist. So only focus on the green stage, right? This first one is cultivate, right? And I'm going to be switching back and forth my tabs, just a heads up. So you should be really have these 2 tabs close to each other. The command tab is right here. And then the Excel spreadsheet is the second tab. We're going to switch back and forth to copy and paste these things into our checklist. So I'm going back to command now. Okay. Now, first of all, stage names, you can edit this. I think off default, it says like watch, nurture, something like that. It's probably in your account. If you want to edit this to put in some time frames, right? Like 6 to 12 months, 3 to 6 months, ready to sell. You can just click this pencil icon on the far right. And you can edit that. And actually, yeah, the template I sent over does give suggestions on what to change that to as well. But the main thing to take away is this is completely customizable. So as you are doing this, and let's say in your business in the next 6 months, okay, this flow isn't working, you can change this at any time. Okay, so we can change these names. So if you want to go ahead and put in, watch leads 6 to 12 months and click save, you can. The probability I don't recommend changing. That is calculated based on KW statistics of how the probability it'll close if it's in this stage. So I would just leave it, in my personal opinion. Just change the stage name, if anything, and click save. So you can do that for each one of them. Just simply click the pencil icon if you do want to add that, time frame. Oh, and Gerard, so I need to give, so I'll need to give you some resources so you can play along with this as well. For now, let's go to opportunities. I try. And spell my name wrong though. All right, so I'm gonna pull up just like the resources. We're gonna copy and paste some stuff over. So we're working on the seller opportunity checklist here. All right, so this is what I have up. So you need these two tabs, the command one and then that one.
Okay.
These two. Okay, let me show you what to do to get you going and then I'll come help you too. Yeah. Okay, so now let's add those checklists in too. Okay, so how we do that. So you'll probably see 0 out of 0 items here, right? So you can click on the first number, whatever it is, 0 out of 0 items under checklist. And it'll pull this up. If it's blank, that's totally fine. Okay, what you're doing is you're clicking add item. We're going to come over to this Excel spreadsheet. And let's say we want this one, okay? Now you can copy by either right clicking and copy, or you can do Control C on your keyboard or Command C if you have a Mac. So either right click and copy or just click on it and do Control C as in cat. And then you can come over to that command tab. And we're just going to paste it in. So right click to paste, or you can see the shortcut here is Control V as in Victor. And then you simply click save. And now we're going to want to do that for all of them, or all of them that you like rather, right? So next one, I come down, I'm going to do Control C. So click the cell, come over to the checklist, click add item, Control V. Now, as you're doing this, right, one more thing I want you to think about as you're going through this, the client update. If you check this on right here, that will make it be a client update off default on further transactions. So obviously you getting the email and phone number, that's not something you need your client to be notified of, but just remember that if it is an item you want your client to be notified of, you can simply click that checkbox and that would happen. Right. So I'm going to come help you too. Do you guys feel okay on that workflow? Okay, cool. It's Excel, so you're like, great, I like Excel. Okay, cool. So I'm going to pull up that checklist real quick. So what we're doing, so it's cool because, yeah, so these checklists will change for you based on where your transaction is in the pipeline, which is cool. So, right, if you move them to under contract, well, you get a whole new set of checklist items for that under contract. So it's very cool that it'll change your checklist items based on the stage of your transaction. These are the notes that we're working with. And I know it doesn't display perfectly, but we're working on the seller opportunity checklist. So there aren't checklists in there off default. So I have this template that we can just copy and paste these into the checklist. There's no like quick, beautiful way to just get them in there. So it's literally copying and pasting, which is a little painful, but once you do it once for like 20 minutes, then you're done, Now, as far as, since you're on a team, let's see if we can even. Did I make this a YouTube channel? Oh, yeah, I have it like online. Wait, did I make it a? Yeah. Yeah. Well, so, on how to do this, I do. Yeah. So I can send you that as well if you would like. I can show you how to do it firsthand too, though. If you want. You're like, no, just. Whoops, I didn't mean to paste that in, but right, this will be the idea here. So what you'll do is, walk you through that at all, I just clicked on things. So I clicked on like the first one here. Oh no! Oh no! Great advice. Don't forget to save. And if you do want me to just put this entire template in for you, that is a service we offer. So shoot me an email if you just want me to do this for you, and we can do that too. So then from here, we'll click on edit stages. And then you can click on the checklist right here. So you can edit the names of these and like they have suggestions up there. Well, hard to see it there, but like see here. Yeah, geez. Yeah. So this is the same thing though. So you can get the name of it here. And then if you want that to be, the name of this, you just quickly, so the pencil icon here will edit the name. And then to edit the checklist, you simply click here. it'll pull it up. So we're just really copying and pasting in. So, you know, like here, I did Control C, Control V, save, add item, and keep doing that over and over. And then save. And we click save on the bottom. You're like, I'm done. I'm just gonna go back to bed now. Those of you online, any questions on what we are doing and how we are getting those over?
No, not yet.
Thank you. When you do what? Oh, you click the hot lead. That is a good one. I think she'd be really proud of that joke. I think of that every time I teach this and say hot lead. I'm like, yeah, right. Actually, every Tech Tuesday, YouTube takes down our video because it says we're bullying in our classes. So, I mean, you come to all of our classes, we're clearly bullying. And Liz even like tried to get it to take away, and they were like, no, we went back to your class and you were definitely bullying. I'm like, okay, well, bullying. My YouTube video keeps, or like our Tech Tuesdays, it gets taken down by YouTube for bullying. I don't know. I should do it more. I mean, if I'm gonna get taken down already, you know, you're the worst at technology. Just kidding. You guys are great. Yeah, isn't it? It's just hilarious, but the irony. And I thought I would show you how to do some of these tasks as well, you know, once we get through some of them.
And you can also just type in what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you absolutely don't need to use this template. You know, it's helpful to get an idea, right? But yeah, try to think of what are you doing in your business? What do you do when you're trying to cultivate a lead, right? If it's not sending a handwritten card, or if that sounds like way too much, great, don't do it. Like, especially like the send video email right here, right? I'm actually going to show you how to do that if you want to. You can pretty quickly in the design section. However, if that's not something you think you're going to do, you don't need to put it there, right? So kind of use this and tailor it to your business. But then once you finish one of those, right, then you would need to go to the next checklist, right? And that's what's under this column. We're all clear on that, right? So you can see this is kind of a tedious thing to do, to be copying and pasting this over. It is really worth your time to do that. It'll probably take 20 to 30 minutes, and let's keep doing it. Let's try to get at least this top one done, right? Your goal right now is to do these top 3, okay? And this would go in the 3 different checklists. And then we'll talk about some of those checklist items. Yeah, so from your opportunity pipeline, let's click on the cultivate stage. Perfect. Nice. And then we'll click on edit stages. Beautifully done. So if you do want to change any of the stage names to put like 6 to 12 months or like 3 to 6 months, you can click the pencil icon to change the name. Okay. And then if you want to edit the checklist, which is kind of what we're doing, then you can click on the checklist where it says 0 out of 0 items, and it'll pull up that checklist. And this is the recommended template that you can copy and paste those checklist items in. Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. Let me know if you need help. And just if anyone is joining us online and got lost at all, I'm just going to show those steps one more time. So if you're working, great, keep working. I'm just going to show you how I got here one more time to edit this. So I'm in command, agent.kw.com. I'm clicking on the opportunities icon on the left-hand side menu. Looks like a little handshake. From here, we're going to focus on the listing one first. I do have a buyer template as well, though. But so if you want to click on listings, cultivate phase. So really, you just need to get into your pipeline, and you'll see edit stages on the top right here. And that'll give you the option to click the pencil icon on the far right to edit any of these names. If you want to add like a time frame like I have, And then those checklists right here, simply click on the checklist number and you can start adding in those checklists, right? So to do that, we're clicking on add item, coming over to the template, which I have up. If you need help getting to there, let me know. I am simply right clicking to copy or Control C and pasting that in, Control V. If it's something you want your client to be notified about, you can click client update and it'll get notified when you check that off. The client updates really come into play more later on in the transaction, I would say. How you guys doing? Okay.
You had a long list of features. I
Mhm.
like this.
Well, because I already added in a bunch of them. So if you click on the seller opportunity template, and then you can click there.
Here.
And click, or you can right click and click copy. Do you usually copy and paste with that way? I imagine. So you can right click and then click copy. And then you'll go back to speed, yep. And then you'll right click here and then paste. And then click save here.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that'll
that's
allow
what
you
it
to add the next item. So you click add item and then
Oh,
repeat that
that
process. Exactly. And then, yeah, click that save once you're done.
is. Okay, all right.
Yeah. And yeah, if you ever need me or Joel to just pop all those in for you instead. Let me know. All right. How are you guys like progress wise? Or did we make it through a little bit? Would it be helpful to talk about best practices to do some of those checklist items? Or we feel okay? Any questions about any of those checklist items? Let's take a look at them. Right? Because it's important that you know how to do these things too, right? So first of all, getting that phone number of the lead. Has anyone used beenverified.com? I was playing with it this morning. Gotcha. And so interesting. Okay. And that's how you were able to look up. Is that what you do currently at all?
Yes.
So for those of you online, Spy Dialer is another one that you can look up agent or clients' email addresses or phone numbers. Sorry, phone numbers. Gotcha. So getting the email of the lead, there are, as far as getting their email, that might be a good thing to put in when you're calling your database, right? Or if you have their phone number and you're giving them a call or a text, right? You can go ahead and ask for that email then. How about lead's current address? Use the tax records to look up those. Don't you do that?
Sometimes
Okay, great. Great. Yeah, those physical addresses are really powerful for even the neighborhood nurture, right? So if you have their physical address in command, it'll automatically generate the neighborhood that they live in, and it will send them, if you set up the monthly neighborhood nurture, send them neighborhood updates. So that physical address is very powerful if you can get that for your clients. All right. So we're good on the process of pulling those in, right? Great. Would you like to see how to create a little video to send out to your clients as a part of this? If you've taken a class, you might have seen something similar. They do have neighborhood videos in command, which I really like, and I find is really helpful for those clients that are on opportunities, whether they're selling their home or buying in that neighborhood. So where this sits, you can do it in, I'm actually going to show you. This one, yeah, so you've probably seen it before. Yeah, well, it's this quick post. Yeah, so, oh, sorry, yeah, campaigns. And then it'll always be under quick post here. It's just a really easy way to access it. This neighborhood video, I know we've talked about this in class before. Great thing to send as part of your process here. So let's say they're buying in Hunter Oaks or they're selling in Hunter Oaks, doesn't matter. It'll show them the stats for the neighborhood in a cool little video. And it's a reason to touch them, right? Reason to reach out to them. So, right, it's really just going through and selecting the neighborhood. You can edit any of the neighborhood stats. I know that was a little fast, so let me know if you need to see that again. You can edit any of this. The agent information will autofill for you from your marketing profile. So there's really nothing you have to put in, right? It's really clicking next a bunch. And then in about 10 seconds, it creates this video. And this is when you could then take that video, either text it to your clients, email it to your clients as a reason to reach out. And it looks really impressive. And all I did was click next a lot.
Can you do that over one more time?
Yeah, definitely. You have an answer?
Yeah, so now I've got, save and post the video.
Right.
So let me save it like this.
Yeah, let me take a look at that. I forget what happens next. It probably takes you to social media, doesn't it?
Or is it save or and post?
And then if you click there,
I should be able to edit post.
yeah, you can. And like in the design section too, let me show you just one more way to get into it in case it only makes you post it there. So especially if you want to just download it and not post it to social media, in the design section, so what you said too, Patrick, in designs here, if you click on, that's the designs icon. If you click on create design on the top right, it has the video option, and I'm pretty sure it's the only video option. So we'll double check here, but I'll click continue. And then, yeah, it's the only video option. So that might be easier because then it won't take you to post on social media. So then, yeah, so just one more time for you guys, designs icon instead on the left-hand side, and then create design, and you'll click the video option. And that's when it'll prompt you to select the neighborhood, and you do need to type that in and wait for the suggestions to select that neighborhood. Click next. It has the neighborhood stats for you. However, if you need to change that, you absolutely can, which I like about that. So you can check really all this information here, neighborhood information, okay, looks good, agent information, market center information. So you can click through this, make sure all is good, and then click next. And then it takes about 10 seconds to generate, and then it will show you the video, and it will be saved in the design section of your command account. So you can always download it from there. And then you can email it out or post it on social media if you would like to, text it out. This is what it looks like. So it's a cool little video here that shows all of those stats. And then at the end, which I like, it shows all your information. So then you can save it from here, right? And then you can go ahead and download this just by clicking. So it'll be on the design. So after you create it, you can always come back and get it from designs. And then you can click, if you hover your mouse over it, you'll see those 3 dots. And then that'll give you the option to either download that. The using campaigns will allow you to either email it, add to a Facebook ad, or share it on social. But main thing, download. So that's a very valuable thing that you can share, right? Reach out in a text or an email with. Just to show you guys, so that's a video version. I just remembered there's also like a market snap. So if you want to send them a graphic for any reason, I'm just going to show you this real quick. So I'm going to click on create design on the top right. Let's see, it's under social. I didn't necessarily do this before class, so bear with me. I do want to show you this though. So I clicked on create design on the top right, and then social. And if you guys haven't played with the design section of Command quite yet, it is really good. It tries to mimic Canva. So there are lots of really great real estate related templates in here. And what's better is they're always in compliance, which is awesome. So if you ever create something in in Command, you know it's in compliance. And you can see on the left-hand side here, right, there's just different kinds of designs here. So for your listing, and I'm just going to show you some of them because they do look really nice, right? So you'll see different just listed, just sold. You'll see the different template sizes at the top as well. If you want that for social, right, or whatever you want that for, you'll have different options here. The neighborhood snaps is what I wanted to show you guys. So that's under listings and the neighborhood snaps. This just shows basically a snap of the neighborhood. So depending on which template we like best. So I'll just pick this one. So this is what it's going to show for the neighborhood, right? So this is going to show you all the information for the neighborhood that you want to give to them. I don't remember how we changed that out. I'll probably have to send, it would probably be best to send you a video on how to do this and post it. So I'm going to send out resources after today's class with some of the things we talked about so that you can have full information on how to do that. But I just want you to know that this is here, these market snaps, so you can post that on social media or reach out to your clients with that instead. Okay, and I will send you a video on how to do this. So if you want to do it in real time, you can. All right. Any questions so far on reaching out with neighborhood information? Okay. And reminder that if you put their address in command, right, then it will automatically associate the neighborhood with them, whatever neighborhood they live in. I'm just going to go back to agent.kw.com, not to lose anybody. Okay, but I'm going out of designs. Feel free to like click through all the different designs. They're really great in here. So you can click through all the different ones on the left-hand side. And then when you're done, let's go back to command, agent.kw.com. That lovely song. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and create an opportunity so that we can see what it looks like when you get those checklists to pop up, and then we can start our client updates as well. Okay, so we're just going to do a practice one. So let's go to the opportunities tab on the left-hand side and click create opportunity on the top right. For the opportunity type, if you just did a checklist on the listing pipeline, let's go ahead and pick that listing as the opportunity type. There's only 3 fields that you have to pay attention to. One of them is opportunity type, where you're selecting listing, buyer, landlord, tenant. The client, this client would have to be in your database already. Okay, so if you have a test client or yourself in your database, you can go ahead and use that. They would have to be in your database already to go ahead and create this opportunity. If there's a co-seller, same concept here. They just have to be in your database first. Lastly, commission rate is the final thing that you have to fill out. So again, those 3 fields: opportunity type, the client, and commission rate. And the commission rate is changeable. So if you don't, they haggle you down to 2.5, that's totally fine. You can change that and click create. Okay, you'll notice just these 2 drop downs on the bottom. That's saying where are you putting this opportunity on the pipeline. So it's set, default to be the cultivate phase, which is great. But you can change that if you would like. I'll show you how to move your opportunities down the pipeline. But it defaults on just the very first one, and you can click create, which is good. So we did a checklist there. All right, so that takes you, of course, into your opportunity. And we're not going into Docusign quite yet, but whenever you do go to Docusign, right, or .loop, you access that from the Documents tab of your opportunity. We're gonna go in there, okay, because we're gonna make some listing agreement templates in Docusign to make your life a little easier. However, right now, let's focus on these checklist items. Okay, there's a couple of different ways that you can go about checking off these checklist items since you just set those up. So when you're in the opportunity itself, you will see that checklist on the very top right of your opportunity, right? So if you're in your opportunity like this, you can simply click on that checklist to start checking things off immediately. Now, please notice that your client updates are off default. So on all of your opportunities, and let me show you that, you'll see these client updates are off. So your clients will not just randomly receive these client updates without you knowing, is the point, right? They are all off by default unless you manually turn them on, okay? So let's manually turn those on for an individual opportunity. Sorry, hang on, let me go back. Okay, so how we turn that on, right? So in order, you'll see for each one, it shows that off and it shows how many tasks I have. I'll just simply click on that opportunity to open it up. And on the top right, where it has client updates as off, we'll change it under the client updates button. We're going to turn this on and we can determine, okay, at what time do you want them to get it? 11 a.m., 10:30, whatever it might be. And click save. So you would have to do this process for each opportunity that you want your client to receive those client update emails. Okay, let me show you that one more time so you feel comfortable. And then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so again, if you are looking at your opportunities, how we turn on the client updates. So from the opportunities tab, we simply click on the pipeline I can see just by looking, client updates are off. So I can click on the opportunity, click client updates on the top right to turn that feature on. And I do have steps on how to do this on the notes. So just to show you guys that real quick. So in the notes that I sent you guys, and this is on JuLeahDesigns.com, just so you know. So JuLeahDesigns.com under Tech Corner and Tech Class Schedule. We're going to start putting our class notes here. It'll be more organized as we go through. But this right here, I just wanted to show you that this is, I'll add a video if not. This is where I have basically broken down into the smaller 10-minute tip videos. And I'll add the client updates one. It might be on the Docusign one, but this will break down like 10-minute videos on how you do each individual thing. So if there's any topic you need, let me know. The Docusign cheat sheet as well is right here. So you'll notice Docusign with command. The training resources, great. Here are all the Docusign videos that I have that are like 10-minute videos on each thing. So just so you know, you do have all of these geared up for you. So I'm going to go back over here. Any questions before I continue? Okay, great. All right, so what we're going to do in documents, client updates, right? So those client updates, now that they're on, right? So these checklists, for these checklists, you can turn the client updates on if you click those envelopes, right? So these checklists up here, they're on off default if you had checked it off default on the top. So you can turn certain checklists on to be a certain check items on to be a client update off default. So for example, if you want to find their email address, well, that's never going to be a reason you send a client update. Well, if you're putting the sign in, that's probably something you always want your client to get a notification of. So in that case, right, we could go ahead and add that in. Did you guys set up any client updates when you were going through? Probably not, right? So let me just show you how it looks on my end if you just want to watch up here. So what I'll do is I will come up, sorry, one sec. Let me activate one and then I'll show you guys it. All right, so I'll turn some off default, on off default, goodness. So now when I am going to check off these items, right, and I can also see my checklist right from the opportunity pipeline. So you'll see your checklist if you're looking at all of your opportunities, or if you click in the opportunity to view it there as well. So you'll see those checklist items right here. And this is where, if I have any that have a envelope next to it, then when I click on it, it'll automatically send them a client update. Sorry, I forgot it doesn't update on current opportunities. All right, but if you see that envelope, I'll show you another one. You'll see an envelope next to the checklist item. That would mean the client would receive a client update the next morning, okay? So if you don't have an envelope next to it, they will not receive a client update. And I have a video on this that I will send you as well, all right? But this is just what the envelope looks like. Good question. Let's look at an example of it. They give you an example actually in here. So this is what it looks like in a preview. I don't know what, this will be your icon. Okay, this will be your logo, your headshot, all your information. It'll show a picture of the house if it's a listing and you've connected the listing. So I'll show you that next. All right, the listing photo will pull in if you have it linked. And this is how it'll look. It'll show like the 3 checklist items that you completed, and it'll do that each day if you complete things. Now, how you get the photo of the house to show is only for listing opportunities, first of all. And because only listing opportunities have the option to select from listings at the top in order to pull all of your information from the MLS, right? All of that property information from the MLS. So if I click on select from listings, it's going to look at your listings first. So typically your listing would be there. For me, I don't have any listings. I'll change that to all listings and I'll just show you an example. Let's say this one. So what it's doing here, you can see it pulled in all the property information, right? You can see the listing is connected here. So that would make the, first picture on the MLS show up on that client update. And I mean, other good things, it would make all these details of the property autofill into Docusign and fill onto all of your forms, which is a great time saver. That's a great thing to do. And again, that's only there for listing opportunities. Just a heads up with that. All right. So let's take a look at any further questions on client updates before I move on from that. Do you think that's something that you're going to use? Maybe. If you do use that, I would love to hear any feedback that you have on it. It is a very powerful tool, I think. It's just the first thing you have to work on is getting all of these checklist items in there, right? So as we did that first stage, right, we did in the opportunity pipeline. I'm just going to go back to my pipeline. And you can do that by simply clicking, depending on where you are. If you're in an opportunity, you'll see this little blue link up here that'll take you back to your entire pipeline. Okay, that'll take you back, for example, to the sales pipeline listing cultivate. Okay, and that's where you'd be able to see any of your opportunities and see where they are. And now let's talk about how we move them down the pipeline. Okay, so let's say for this opportunity, I went through and I completed all these checklist items, right? I'm feeling great. I completed everything, and now it's ready to move to the next stage. So what I can do is simply click my mouse on the little grippy icon on the far left of that opportunity. Looks like a rectangle of dots, right? Simply click and hold and drag it. And you can see you can drag it to the next opportunity stage. So I could release my mouse and it would be here. And you can see that my checklist automatically updated, right? I had completed, let's say 4 out of 5. I moved it here. Well, now this is a completely new checklist, right? That is generated by this opportunity stage. So same concept here, right? I would go through, complete all the checklist items to keep myself on track and move them down the pipeline. I can move them to the next opportunity phase, right? So these are the opportunity stages down here, and these are the phases up here. So we move it to the opportunity phase a little differently. We just need to click and drag. So click and hold your mouse, and you'll see that it turns into like dotted lines around each one of these up here. If you hover your mouse over that specific opportunity phase, you'll see it turns blue. Just look out for that so you can release your mouse and drop it now into that appointment phase. So as far as moving your opportunities, it's very much drag and drop, switch it to the next appointment phase. So, okay, great. We cultivated that relationship and got them into an appointment, okay? So this is where now there would be a separate set of checklist items here, right? So we would do the same process as far as in reference to this checklist. So now that we're in the appointment phase, we would do the same thing. We come up to edit stages on the top right. And then I would pull up that seller opportunity template to copy and paste everything in from these 3 columns. And just a heads up, hey, yeah, if you do want us to copy and paste this in for you, just shoot us an email. It's contact@JuLeahDesigns.com, and we can help you with that as well. That is a service we provide if you need it. But you guys feel comfortable in that process now, so you can do that at home as well. All right, so next thing that we are going to do. And just so you know, right, that would have to be done separately for the buyer pipeline and the seller pipeline. All right, so we talked about client updates. Let's talk about those task reminders. Where do you get reminded of these checklists, right? So let's talk about that. So how you get reminded of any opportunity tasks is you have to set a due date. So I'm going to go back to my pipeline now. Just if anyone wants to join me, I'm going to go into opportunities and click on the cultivate or appointment stage, wherever that opportunity is or wherever you have tasks. All right, and what you can do is actually, so when you click on that checklist, you need to set a due date in order to be notified of this checklist item. Okay, so you won't be notified of any of these checklist items. You just have, like off default, you would just have to go into the opportunity to see the checklist unless you give it a date. Then you will be notified about it, and it will be in the tasks of your command account. And I'll show you where all of these sit. But the idea is, let's say you want to get this done by Friday, right? You set that reminder, click OK. It even tells you what time it's reminding you. So then at that time, it would show up for you in the tasks of command. Okay, so again, all I did was in the opportunities section, I clicked on one of these checklists to give it a due date, okay? And just a heads up, you don't see that option to give it a due date unless you hover your mouse there. So, hover your mouse there and you'll see set due date. All right, that's what you'll need to do in order to get that option, just a heads up. And then now we can view all of our tasks in the tasks icon. up here on the top left of command. Let's talk about our tasks and the difference between contact tasks and opportunity tasks and how you can manage these tasks on the go as well. So you'll notice at the top here, right, we have contact tasks. So that's if you create a task like to call your client, right? Or versus all opportunity tasks. This is showing you all of the tasks that you have associated in your opportunity that you set a due date for, right? These due dates. So what happens with these tasks is you get, as long as you have the KW Command mobile app on your phone, you'll get a notification each morning of all your tasks that are due for the day. You'll also be notified on your bell icon on the top right of command of those notifications. And of course, you can view it here. And on your command mobile app, like if you pull it, not only do you get a notification, if you pull it up on the homepage, it tells you all your tasks to do for the day. So you can kind of glance at that in the morning. But what I want to show you here that is cool for these tasks. So let's talk about contact tasks a little more, because I think you guys could really use that in your business to stay on track. I personally really like to-do lists, and this is how I stay on track as well. So if you do need to create a new task, so just a heads up, under tasks, we click create new task. So let's say you need to give yourself a reminder to call John tomorrow, right? So what I can do is create new task. I need to associate a contact. So let's say I'll put in, whoever the contact is. You can go ahead and type in their name and click associate. And you can do multiple contacts as well. And that will put the task in all of their contact records on the timeline. You can mark it as a call task. The difference if you do or don't, if you do mark it as a call task, once you check it off, it'll pop up and ask you, what did you talk about? To leave notes about the call. And I'll show you what that looks like because I do really like that. Task description, call about listings favorited. You can set your due date here. And then the hyperlink I would like to use for, okay, if I know that she favorited, this listing that she wants to talk about, I could put a link to that listing here and click create task. All right, so you can see how it shows your tasks right here. So again, I'm under the task section. Again, you get notified in the morning of these tasks. And then once you go to complete it, as long as it's labeled as a call task, I can tell because that phone, if I check it off, oh, sorry, wrong one. You check it off over here on the far right here. That's where you can check that off. So then if it's a call task, it pops up like this and it asks you how the call went. So if you talked, it asks you to put in notes about the conversation, which it'll put in the notes of your contact in the timeline. So you can always reference back to it. Now, with that being said, on your phone too, let's talk about, if you don't mind pulling up your command app. I can show you how these tasks work for the command app as well. And the command app, does everyone have the command app? Okay, yeah, cool. If you want to just search your App Store or Google Play Store for command or KW space command, and then it's your command login and password, if you do have it. Yeah. Oh, if you log in here? Well, that's wild. I didn't realize that. Well, I think command just always logs you out. Like anytime I pull up a new tab, if I'm logged in that browser, I pull up a new tab and go to agent.kw.com. Yeah. I have to go like sign in. So I don't know if it's just how it is or if it's this. Okay. But yeah, so if you have that command app, I just want to show you things like you can see your items, your tasks up here that are due today, due soon, past due, right? So I can see my tasks really easily from here. And when they're call tasks, right, you can actually call them straight from here. So I'm looking at my tasks and I can see I have 2 call tasks. It gives me the option to go ahead and call them. And it will allow me, as long as I have a phone number for that person in my database, it'll allow me to call them right from here. And then when I hang up, it'll pop up right from the command app to go ahead and put in those notes again. So you can really do all of your task management right from your phone, which is cool. So again, just on the command mobile app, you'll see your tasks that are due today. And another thing I really like here is the birthdays and anniversaries. I always check this for the month to write my handwritten cards. Questions on the mobile app or managing tasks or anything? You guys okay on that? Yeah. Cool. All right, so there's two main things that I want to cover with you that we're going to do after we get back from a break. So we're going to take like a 10-minute break here, come back at 2:05. If you do want to come back, I'll be showing you, there is a brand new feature in buyer opportunities that's called Earnest that actually allows you to send like the earnest money request to your clients. This is brand new, like as of this week, and I'll show you it. But like if, let's say Gerard McNaught is holding the earnest money, you can set up, it's called Earnest and it's in your buyer opportunities. You can send something to your clients that will say, hey, here's a link to click, send $5,000 to Gerard McNaught. So it's like the in-between. I'm not saying I recommend using it because it's really new, but I'm just going to show you it exists. And then maybe we hold off and let some other people stumble through it first until I get feedback, and then I'll tell you guys when.
Effort to get involved with the transfer of money if I don't do it personally.
Right.
So much thought.
Right.
Touch on that money.
I would love to hear y'all's feedback in general about this, because again, this is brand new. Let me show you this real quick, and then we'll take a 10-minute break, if that's okay. And then we'll do a listing.
Don't mind. Don't mind.
I usually have to talk about it,
So answers.kw.com, you should jot down somewhere because it's the best thing ever. I mean, this is how I've learned a lot about the KW technology. You can come in here. I mean, this is written articles on everything you can think of for your KW tech. Want to learn something about smart plans? Great. Just type in smart plans. I'll give you step-by-step with screenshots and everything. So this is where I was looking about this Earnest. That's brand new. No. That's what I would love to hear. I would love, because I actually was talking to Carla about this earlier. Like, okay, what do we know? Like, I think this seems a little scary to recommend. Yeah, let's look at those. It gives me screenshots. So like it says what it does. So you'll see it's in your buyer opportunities right here. And I'll pull this up so you can see it in a live environment. But this is where it's going to be. Send earnest request, right? And this is like the branding. And so it'll make you create an account. And I know this is just kind of a quick overview. Create an account. Yeah, right. Well, that's the name of the company. Yeah. Yeah, I know. So yeah, you're verifying your identity. So what it's saying though that you actually do, okay? So you are just putting in a request for them to send it. So like who's paying? This is the client. This is how much they're paying. And then you pick like who's holding it. So like Gerard McNaught, for example, let's say. And then it sends a notification request to the people that you have here, right? Request $5,000. And then it sends them an email that they're able to just go ahead and do that. Right. Yeah, some people are afraid of Docusign, e-signature, much less the, so again, I will keep you guys posted as other agents use it. If you, it's always good to wait a little bit once features roll out. I'll keep you guys posted on what I hear about it. I just haven't heard any agents use it. So I would just like to hear some agents use it before I tell you guys to use it. That's all I'm saying. I'm sure it works great. But I will announce this out to the Market Center as well as soon as I hear any information on validity. Like it's, I mean, it's endorsed by KW, but I think.
I'm sure a lot of the younger.
Yeah, right. Right, because you start talking about wiring funds and going to the bank, and I mean, that's a lot for a millennial or right? Yeah, they don't do that. They do things online. Just send me something to send it. Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, I think it's definitely, a certain buyer that you work with, right? Generationally or age, whatever. Whatever it might be. But yeah, let's take just 5 minutes here. Let's come back let's do 2:10 and we'll do the listing agreement. Like if you guys want to come back, I'm going to do, we're going to go in Docusign. pull in a listing agreement and save it as a template. So we'll fill in all the information that's put on most listing agreements to save it so you can pull it in as your, template to use for all further transactions. So if that's helpful, you can stay, and that's what we'll be doing for the rest of the class at 2:10. All right. So last thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to create templates in Docusign. We're actually going to do the listing agreement together. So you'll know how to pre-fill forms in Docusign to have those, so you can pull those into all future transactions to save you time, right? Because most of it's filled out already, then you only have to fill in or change the items that need to be changed. Okay, so first of all, let's go into Docusign. So you can do that from one of your opportunities. You'll need to create an opportunity first to create the Docusign room. If you guys have come to any of my Docusign classes, I know you've seen that. So you can really just click on any of the opportunities that you have. We really just need to get into Docusign for this. So you can either do so by clicking on the Documents tab of any of your opportunities and click Go to Transaction or Start Transaction, or you can go to realestate.docusign.com directly, not docusign.com directly. Okay, I had another agent recently went to docusign.com directly and ended up sending the form out of the e-signature side. So the reason there's two sides of Docusign, there's a real estate side, and then there's another side of Docusign that everyone else uses. If you go to docusign.com, you're getting the everyone else instead of the real estate side. So please jot down that's realestate.docusign.com, or you can always get to the right place from the Documents tab of your opportunity. Just click on Go to Transaction. And it should always remind you to log in each day. I did see actually a notification that they're working on rolling out single sign-on. So you see that it might be prompting, so you don't need a password in the future, which is great. Yeah, see, I was reading this earlier. It's talking about like the Face ID, or I don't know. I couldn't get to work when I tried to set that up earlier, but maybe that's coming. Sorry, I should really get my passwords before I come to class. I know what it is. All right, so yeah, your Docusign password's one of those that you should jot down somewhere. You'll need that. Okay, so we're either way you get into Docusign, realestate.docusign.com, and we're going to go up to the My Docs tab on the white toolbar. So My Docs and Form Templates. So again, if you missed that, I went to realestate.docusign.com, clicked on My Docs, and then Form Templates. And this is on the notes that I sent out that I'll show you. So there's a quick video on this as well that you guys have. All right, but what we're doing here is we're going to pull in a form. So we're going to click on Create Form Template on the top right to pull in a listing agreement, buyer agency, whichever you'd like. Create Form Template. So under here, so the first one where it says Select Form, you can select either from the Docusign groups or library. I like to do groups just because it categorizes the forms versus library is like all of them. All right, so if you change the first tab to group, it'll then give you the groups as set up by Sabra. So if I want a North Carolina listing agreement, I'll go to the NC listing file and go ahead and, select the 101 exclusive right to sell. But you can do this for any of your forms, of course. What we're doing is pre-filling the information in these forms for what goes on the form most of the time. So when you pull it into your room moving forward, it's half filled out. Saves you time. So I'll click on Use. And that'll pull me into the template, the listing template that we can now start pre-filling in. And I already have one filled out to show you guys, so I'm going to pull that one up. All right, and did you guys get there okay? All right, cool. Now, as far as, sorry, did you say? Yes, 101, yeah. But I'm actually in My Docs. Oh. Yeah, so this is different than like putting the form in your room like you're used to. Yeah, because we're just setting up like a template. Cool. So yeah, under My Docs on the top white toolbar, then Form Templates, then Create Form Template on the top right. And that's where we're selecting. I like the group option personally, but either one. And then you can select whichever form you would like to go ahead and make a template of. And once you click on it, it'll pull up the form itself. Now, as far as what's being put in this for default, we're trying to think about, okay, what in general is it mostly the answer? You can absolutely change it. So if like, that's in a water, a flood plain or whatever, and you put no on here, well, great. When you pull it into that room, you just change it for that one. So try to think of what would generally go on here. So first of all, the brokerage name. And to be transparent with you guys, so I'm basing these fields off of my mother's listing agreement. I am licensed, but do not actively sell. So anything that you see that you're like, oh, well, that would be a good thing to have, or maybe, I would love your input is my point. Okay. And of course, if you want explanation on forms classes, Safer teaches the form classes as well. All right. So Keller Williams Realty Ballantyne area. And if you want to go ahead and check off the effective date, as far as being that first radio dot here. So that effective date will be the date this agreement is signed. And again, of course, as you bring this in, if anything's different, you just switch it in that specific room. Leave all this blank. This will pull in based on the specific transaction, right? That's the property information. I'm going to scroll down. Nothing on page 2 stood out to me, but of course, please feel free to put your input if you see anything. Now, if you put NA in fields that don't apply for the transaction, that might be a good thing to go ahead and pop in, right? An NA. And then we can copy that too. So, I mean, you could highlight it so we can put them in all the other fields too. What I did is I just double clicked on it and I'll highlight it. And then you can do Control-C to copy NA. So then we can paste NA in all the fields that allow it. Or that call for that, I mean. So I usually put, or my mom usually puts NA here, and my mom is Connie Yates as well. She's been in the business for 10 years, so she does know her stuff. But NA on the next 3 is what I do. So Carrie, again, if you have any input, please let me know. And then home warranty, does not agree to obtain, but of course, if that's a different situation, or if you find they usually do, go ahead and check that the other way. If it does not, you can put that NA here. And I'm on number 5 on page 3. I'm on number 5, page 3. And then number 6 here. So what's cool here as well is you can have multiple types of these templates. So let's say you want to make one for cash deals. And then what you can do after we make this one, you can actually copy this template. So you could change just a couple things for those finance deals. So you could have technically a separate listing agreement for finance deals and separate for cash, or anything that makes sense that you really use like that. You can have separate templates for the same form. So if you want to check cash and conventional, or whatever you usually see going on here, firm's commission, that's supposed to be the 6%, right? Okay. And so you can put 6%. Of course, when that's different for the transaction, you change it. You can put an NA, so I'm on number 7, 6% and NA. As far as the expiration date, whatever you normally do for that, 60 days, whatever the case may be. And then we scroll down. I'm on 8 now. Well, number 8 on page 4. Check that second box. And this is right where it's saying the other side gets that 3%. And then NA here. Okay, and I'm scrolling down. If anyone online or anyone here, feel free to let me know if I need to stop or go back. I'm happy to anytime.
No, I just wanted to know if you could give us a copy of that, of the form that you're filling out.
Sure, let's see. Yeah, I can send it over as a PDF. Like you won't be able to copy and paste from it, but at least it'll give you a reference, to have on your computer. So yeah, I'll send this to you right after class with the other notes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm on page 5. Right, on page 5, down where it says seller authorizes firm as follows. You want to check all of those. Of course, that coming soon might vary. And you'll see these radio dots. If the copy was attached, you can go ahead and click that. Now scrolling down to page 6. Under the big note box C, seller does allow for a lockbox. That's all we got on page 6. Page 7 here. So, I mean, has owned the property for at least 1 year. Of course, that'll vary, but you can go ahead and select that if that's most of the time you see. Is not under bankruptcy. We're hoping that's the one they want to check anyway. If that's the case, you know, under D for manufactured homes, if you want to go ahead and put those NAs in. And again, if you had copied those, you can just paste them right in. Assuming you give them the sample form, you can go ahead and check those off. So it's under F. G for that flood hazard disclosure is not located, but of course, just keeping an eye on if that changes for that property, that you do come change these items. And I'll show you how to actually apply it in your room. Synthetic stucco, if you want to type in none, that's H. Current liens on the property, you know, assuming they still have a mortgage to pay off, you can go ahead and check that off, whichever you normally see. So that's all I got for page 7. We're almost there. Page 8 under K, leases. Is not subject to any leases. This is K on page 8. A8. Yeah, so you're really just wanting to put what you see most of the time. Or, I mean, you can leave it blank if you feel like it's 50-50, you know, either one. FHA appraisal has not, or whichever you use mostly. Fuel tank is not a fuel tank located on the property. Of course, these can be changed for the property. So that's all I have on page 8. Nothing on page 9. All right, so I'm on page 10 now. On the top of page 10, I have an NA. Under 14 for home inspection, does not agree to obtain and pay for the home inspection. And then page, let's see, I think it's really just now if you scroll now to the very bottom of the form, just adding in your brokerage information, making sure that's there, like your brokerage, your office address, etc. So that's already on there. You can click the pencil icon on the top left as well to rename it. This will especially come into play like if you create a listing agreement for like cash deals or finance deals, you know, if you have two of the same template, or 2 different templates for the same form, then you can come in here and you could put like cash listing agreement or something like that. But either way, maybe name it something that you know it's like it's your template. So then you can click on the check mark. So if you do rename anything, just a heads up, the save for renaming it is this little check box on the top right. So if you do rename it, all I did is click the pencil icon on the top left, rename it, and then click the green check to the far right of the name. And then save and close. Okay. So I have that saved right here. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to actually apply it to the room next. But a couple things, if you need to come back and edit it, right? Okay, great. Just come here and click edit. If you need to make a copy of it, okay, I like this for the example of like if I want to make a separate listing agreement for finance, right? I could go ahead and copy this. It would copy it with all the fields in there, and then I could just change the fields that would apply to the, you know, new template. All right, so let's find out how we add these to your room now. Okay, you can watch on my screen or do it with me. So I am going to go back to my rooms. So you can click on rooms on the top white toolbar, and we did all of that under My Docs and Form Templates. So if you want to come back and make more form templates, I'll send you the video, and it's My Docs, Form Templates, create form template. So to add it to your room now, we'll click on that Rooms option on the top white toolbar. Just go ahead into like a practice room maybe that you have. It won't send anything out, but let's just go ahead and open that up. And we're clicking on the Documents tab of your room. The documents up here. Okay, and there's two main ways that you can add that listing agreement template. Okay, so first way is, let's say the form's already in your room, right? So let's say, right, because through those steps, you can make Docusign pull in all your forms automatically. And I'll show you that next if anyone wants to see that. But so if that form is already in your room, so I have the exclusive right to sell right here. It's already in my room. It's just blank. I want to apply the template to it. What I can do is right click on the form. Oh, this is 103. Okay. Let me get a 101. So it will only show this option if you have a template for it. So you'll notice when I right click on 103, right, it doesn't give me the option to apply a template. Let me get to a listing agreement 103. Might have to pull another one in. 101. Oh, good. Now you'll see both of the ways to do it all at once. It's a PDF for some reason though, so it's not giving me that option. Here, I'll just switch to a different room. I don't know why it's like that. Try this one. All right. All right, so now that I right clicked on the correct form, the 101, which we have the option to apply form template. Okay, you only have this option when you right click if you have a template made for that. Okay, so I'll click on apply form template. It'll give me the option. It's only giving me the options for this form. So I have 3 different templates created for the listing agreement. So if you had a cash one and a finance one, you would see all the different options to be able to select to click apply. And then just like that, it applied the template. So when you open this up, it's now going to have all that templated information already pre-filled on the form. And this is also where we would go in to edit any of that information. So if it wasn't a floodplain, right, then all you would have to do is come in and just change the information right here. So it'll be pre-filled out with what we put in, but you can absolutely change any of it. Now, the other option, if the form is not currently in your Docusign room, here's how you apply it. So what I showed you so far, if you're seeing the form in your room and you want to apply that, again, right click, apply form template. If you don't see that option, that means you don't have a template for that form specifically. Okay, so now let me go to a room that doesn't have the buyer agency, listing agreement. Okay, so now if I want to add that template, the workflow is the same really for adding any forms. You would come up in the Documents tab, come up to Add. This is how you add forms in general to your room, right? We click on Add, top right. We're selecting that second icon down, that Docusign Forms. That means those are all your interactive forms you can just start typing in. So what we do is on the left-hand side, so I'm going to actually look for that listing agreement. So let's say North Carolina listing. So you'll see your groups on the left-hand side and then libraries. Again, I like groups just because it categorizes them. And so when I click the checkbox of the form that I need to use, right? Let's say I need these 2. You'll notice the one I have templates for has a drop down now. I don't have a template for this form created, so it doesn't have a drop down, right? If you do have a template created for the form you're selecting, you get a drop down where you can select the correct name of it and then add that selected one instead. So you're adding that template instead of the blank listing agreement. So yeah, 2 main ways. It just depends if the form's already in your room, because it won't let you bring in a second copy. Like if you try to do that avenue I just did and the form's already in your room, it'll tell you it's in use and you can't bring it in. Yep. Okay, well, that's really all I have to say on this, unless is there anything else that I can cover with these templates? Do we feel okay enough with it to work on it at home maybe too? Create some templates, great. No, I like it.
So we're in Docusign,
Mhm.
we've got a buyer
Mhm.
that makes an offer, it doesn't go, somebody else gets the house.
Right.
We make another offer of a different house.
Mhm.
I have just been creating new envelopes. Is that the only way to do it?
So the question for those of you online, if you're representing the buyer and then the property or the offer terminates, right? So in that case, so the rooms and the opportunities are based on the property. So technically what command wants you to do is actually start a new opportunity and a new room. Okay, all right, cool. Great, okay, because it's all the property details autofill, and if it's on one form, well, then it goes on all the forms. Yeah, so if you're making an offer on more than one property for a buyer, you want to make separate opportunities, separate rooms here, so that you keep the property details separately. Exactly, yeah. Just kind of a pain. If it's the listing though, just on the flip side, if you're representing the listing and the offer terminates there, then you would keep the same opportunity because it's the same property, right? It's all about the property details autofilling on the forms. So if it's the same property, great, keep using it. Then you could create like a new folder at that point. What I would probably do is, so I could be organized, you can create folders, actions, add folder. And so I could add a folder, let's say for the terminated offer, and then one for like the updated offer, and then I could move the forms. It's just drag and dropping it, so I can organize into those, and then I could even like collapse the terminated ones so I don't have to see those. And again, I'm talking about for a listing, if that were to happen.
Basically, all the buyer documents, the buyer agency agreement, the working with real estate agents, have to have separate.
You would just
copy of
move
this.
move them over. Yeah, so in that case, great question. So let's say, yeah, you need to probably move over buyer agency and working with real estate agents, whatever the case is. So then you would check the check boxes of any forms that you will want to pull to a different room, right? And so what you can do is come up to either copy them or move them. So if you want a copy of them instead, and let me make sure that's what it does. Right, exactly. So you would need to make the other room first, would be that first step. And then once you do, you can move over any forms
Okay.
that have been signed.
Great.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right. As the last thing I was going to show you, if you guys don't have questions, I was going to just show you one more time how to make all forms automatically pull into Docusign. And I know you guys have probably seen that before, so if you need to go, feel free. But I'll show you that real quick. And is there any other questions you guys or anything you'd like to see as far as transactions go? Okay. Do you think you're going to go put those checklists in? Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to be like, no. Good. Okay. Right. Right. But even some of them, like pick and choose some of them. And I'll send out a separate email that has just the main things we talked about highlighted on the notes, because I know I gave you a lot of resources today. So once you put it in once, that checklist, it'll work for all future opportunities. But just a heads up, if you have an opportunity already going, no, it doesn't. It doesn't update on there, just so you know, and don't pull your hair out. Only new opportunities will show you the new checklist that you have. If you need any help on that, just let me know. But real quick, this is a really cool feature of Command that is newer that I want to make sure you guys are using. It just really matters that you do it in the specific workflow. So if you want all forms to automatically pull into your Docusign room without having to go find them all one by one, okay, it has to happen when you're initially creating the opportunity in the Docusign room. And I'll show you. So I'm going to create a new opportunity so I can show you. So again, I'm creating a new opportunity. I did that from the opportunities tab. You'll do this every time that you have a new transaction. But what I want to push you to do is, that's what a lot of agents do. They only put in an opportunity if it's like going under contract or something like that, right? Where they need to get paid for it. Try to start putting your opportunities in when you're cultivating that, when you're trying to convert the lead, right? To give yourself those checklist items. Okay, I need to do these items to try to convert it. It'll keep you feeling a lot more organized, especially if you have multiple leads going. So from here, so what we do is we go to the Documents tab. So all I did so far, I created an opportunity. And then I'm going into the opportunity to click on the Documents tab. Now, this is always the workflow you have to use to start your Docusign room. After you start your Docusign room for the first time, great. You can go directly to realestate.docusign.com, but you have to start your Docusign room from command. Now, the opportunity, what I'm going to show you here, in order to have all of your forms automatically pull into your Docusign room, you have to pick a checklist type first before you click Start a Transaction. All right, so we have to click Pick Checklist Type first. We're telling command, okay, this is a North Carolina listing / sale. Okay, so pick checklist type first. And what it's going to do is make any forms in these checklists that have this blue DS next to it. Those are the forms that are going to autofill or auto pull into Docusign. Okay, so these forms. So since I picked the checklist first, right, I have to tell command which one it is. Now that I click Start a Transaction, and you'll probably only have Docusign, so I'll go right there. But now it's going to automatically pull in those forms into my Docusign room, so I don't have to be going to look for all of those forms. So see, it pulled all of them in automatically just because I picked the checklist first. If you don't though, like if you click Start a Transaction, don't pick the checklist, there's just no going back. Like there's no way to go back and do it. In hindsight, you know, if you really want that, then you have to start a new opportunity because it really matters the workflow. Pick the checklist first, then start the opportunity or start the transaction in Docusign. Then click Start a Transaction on the top right. Nice. Go.
Oh, okay, so those are all the forms that I need.
Yep. And so this is when, if you were going to apply now that listing template that we created for the listing agreement, this is when you would need to right click on it, right? Because it already brought the form in for you. So we're not going to get it. We would have to right click to apply form template to just go ahead and pop all that information in. Yeah, some of it's for like, no, are they? Yeah, you can.
Shows you when you're back at the opportunity.
Yeah, this right here, back in the so these checklists. So when you're trying to figure out what you actually need, so under the checklist on the left-hand side, now I am in the Documents tab, My Opportunity. This will show you all the items that you need that are required too. So when doing compliance, right? So you have to add everything that has this required thing next to it, and you can actually sort everything by required, which I do, so they're all at the top. So you can click on requirement here and it'll make all the ones that are required. So that means you can't get paid if you don't have these items, right? That show required. So that'll give you an idea of what you actually need. Yeah, so the conditional, like it usually has like if it's coming soon, you know, if you did it coming soon, or if it's like, you know, septic, lead based, yeah. So it depends on the property kind of deal, if it's required. Yeah, and then just a heads up on the left-hand side, right? This is your listing file, and there's under contract and closed, just depending on the transaction. And these pull directly, so you can pull your forms directly from Docusign. So when we're putting them in here is after your forms are signed. So real quick, just to separate the two for you, Docusign, right? We've been in Docusign, the Documents tab here. Docusign is used between you as the agent and your client to access your forms, fill them in, and get them signed. Once the forms come back signed, that's when we go into the command opportunity to put the signed forms in right here to send it to the office. So the Documents tab of your opportunity is used between the agent and the office to add your signed paperwork to get signed. So Docusign, agent, and client opportunities. Good question. So you can do it one, two ways. So depending on, you know, how you usually do your transactions. So first of all, let me just tell you, if you like to, you know, hand sign your forms, that is absolutely fine. So, you know, if you want to come in here and let's say bring up the exclusive right to sell, type it all in and then click print, you absolutely can bring it on your appointment, have them hand sign it, and then I'll show you how to add it to your opportunity. Okay, so that's one option. If you do that, just a heads up, so you pull up the form, you can type in the entire thing and save it. And then it'll allow you to pull it back up and come up here and print it. So under the document actions, there is a print option. So if you do print it and bring it on your appointment, let's say, and you have them hand sign it, right? When you get back to your computer, okay, I need to get that into command now. So you can scan everything in, right? So this is if you have a physical copy. I'm just starting with first. Then you could come up to here where it says attach file from. So you can pull either from your computer or from Docusign. And I'll show you Docusign, of course, but if you do have those signed and you scan it to your computer, you can absolutely just pop them in like this, right? Just browsing. Now, if it's Docusign though, right? If your signed forms are in Docusign, what I can do, so you'll see all these are grayed out. It's grayed out until you just pick a working folder, which is a little silly, but here we are. So Docusign, if you notice these are all gray, just know that the working folder, just go ahead and select that. And you'll see it gives you the option to start pulling in. Now I don't have options because it would only show me signed forms or PDFs in there. And so what it looks like here, I can show you an example though. So it'll just show up the form names in there. Any of the forms that are signed or are PDFs in your room, it shows up for you to pull over to command.
So when you click on a working folder, the forms that are already signed.
Exactly. Because, yes, a good question, because when the forms come back signed, they come back as a PDF. So Docusign knows that it won't pull in any of the, like, so this is how it'll look when you click on it. And usually, you know, you'll maybe have like 4 signed forms or whatever, you know, so you'll see 4 different options. You simply click on the form that aligns with like, you know, this one. And then it just literally pulls it from Docusign into here and you did it for that one. Then I can go next, you know. So you can either pull it from your computer or from Docusign, depending on what you're doing, how you're getting those signed. And for that, then you would click Submit to MC on the top right. This blue button. It won't, sorry, it's grayed out until you add forms. So it's grayed out. Yeah.
I haven't done a thing like that much. Yeah, and when you hit that,
Oh,
MC, if you haven't saved it, they shoot you right in the middle of the floor. It's a piece of paper, right?
Gerard's gonna come in a whole bulletproof suit. Be like, I'm ready, Patrick. Let's do this. We'll submit for compliance. But yeah, when you go through that, I can also help you if you want to schedule appointments. You know, for those of you online too, if you have a transaction you're going through, schedule an appointment with us. kwbresources.com. But yeah, we're happy to help you with that. Any further questions on Docusign? How these forms come? Was there something else I was going to show you? I thought there's something else I was going to tell you. I didn't say anything else that you remember.
One of them is to create a file. Save everything. Except the docs. Yeah. We've got all the PDF.
Yeah.
I like doing that too.
And then the second part is that there are people out there that will transact or proposing or whatever. That'll do all of that for you
Mhm.
for about 400 to 550 a transaction.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah, and it's amazing how much that alleviates the stress. Part of the money. Yeah. I would say do a couple of them yourself, to make sure that you understand what needs to be done, and then you can watch it. But once you understand it, yeah, it's like they don't make enough liquor.
The paperwork is wild.
Between 500 go through all the time. You just don't have to do it.
yeah.
All right.
That's what I have.
Yeah, yes, that's
But
fine.
I think what you think you ought to do.
Yeah, they'll schedule all the inspections.
They'll put it in MLS for you.
Right.
I think the only thing they won't do is negotiate. But
Right.
talk to Dave.
No,
about it.
they're
Dave Liddell is not licensed, so he cannot do this. That's why.
Yeah.
They can use,
But yeah, they just take their own.
And we're also, this is more on the DL, but we're also interviewing transaction coordinators for our business as well. So our goal is to have a transaction coordinator in our business by the end of the year. So we'll have someone in-house and we're just interviewing currently, but we do have someone in the works. So, you know, in the meantime, I could teach you how to do it and then bridge the gap.
I think once I do one to do.
Yeah.
Put your teeth into it.
Mhm.
Like anything else, and there's so many forms, you don't want to screw it up.
Right.
The good spot it is that you really, it's really difficult to screw it up because once you send it in there, they send it back and I just understand that you're gonna have to read through some of the forms. A couple of times.
And you can.
Oh, no, get shut. You know,
Yeah, you started with the worst case scenario, so everything
Yeah,
else
right.
seems better
that's
now.
all they have to do. Read here.
Yeah, you know Carla
Right.
gets real mad. Yeah, right. All right, for those of you online, I will be sending out notes that we talked about today, and the recording will be up shortly this week, so I'll send that out as well. If you have any questions, I'll put my email in the chat and just let me know.